Hi, my name is Sakari Olli, and today I will tell you something about the data products as a fuel of innovation. Currently I work in the company called Samlink, a daughter of Quintrill, but this story is mostly coming from my previous position, Wärtsilä, where we did the magic with the data. Few words about the Wärtsilä before we'll jump into the topic. Wärtsilä is the leading player in the sustainability markets, doing the energy solutions for the marine and the energy industries. The sustainability is one of the key words if you think about the Wärtsilä's offering. And the Wärtsilä's business is in the middle of some sort of digital transformation. In a way, we were great and we are still great in manufacturing of the machines. But at the same time, the IT systems and data are becoming more important for everything that we do. Here are some figures about Wärtsilä. We have two big business areas. First one is marine, the other one is energy. We are working in the globally in the more than 250 locations, and we can very truly say that we are real international organization. But then let's jump to the topic, the data as a fuel for the innovation. The first question is, of course, to define that what is innovation. Innovation is related to the idea that we are creating something new ideas, new products, services, which are creating value for someone. The innovation requires execution, design, implementation, adoption. It doesn't come free. It requires systematic approach. Okay, what is data then? If you think about the innovation in the digital world, the data is the most critical asset for that. It's a fuel that drives innovation. The data helps organizations to innovate. It helps them to understand their customers, operations, surrounding world better. Even facilitating innovation, it's also strongly connected to the innovation, strongly connected to the topic data availability. You may have the data, but if it's not available for the development, for the innovation, you don't get far. If you think about our journey in the data and the data innovations, of course there are great ideas, things and products that has been created, but quite much of the work is boring, basic work, which is focusing on the data availability. The idea that there are business processes, systems, partners, which are publishing the data. We are making the data availability in the data product platform, where these products are consumed for the innovation and the product development. Let's talk something about the data products and how to develop them in the successful way. One of the most interesting questions, of course, that what is the data product? Data product is well-defined, high-quality data set, which is published and enables easy consumption. It should have an owner. It should be documented. It should have a clear access interface for the data consumers. One of the key points in the data products is that there is a physical data set of data. It has been published in the standard agreed way, and it has an owner. Data products should be documented in agreed way to facilitate their use. We should also have principles, practices, and responsibilities to ensure their quality and controls to ensure that the data we can trust the data. Interesting thing in data products is also that even we are talking about making data available, they're strongly connected to the access controls. The data owner should define rules and enable the access to the data for the persons and the parties that need that. The examples of the data products may be, for example, the customer data, which is published somewhere as a data product, for example, in the cloud. The fleet data, fleet tracking data, account transactions, different kind of product-related data products are also easy to define. But like I said, data products are typically strongly connected to the business of an organization. So how do we make these data products in practice? Is a great question. And in practice, if we start the development of the data products, it requires some sort of data product platform. The data product platform is in a way the infrastructure, tools, and a concept. How do we publish this data? Typically, the organizations also want to federate their data product development, meaning that they have several teams which are developing data products in parallel. So this data product platform, the infrastructure, needs to also enable the scaling of the development so that it can be done in parallel by many teams. If you want to understand the data product platform, the idea goes so that we have the source systems. When we are publishing the data into the data product platform, this publishing is done so that we are using the data product related principles. So in practice, we are productizing the data in agreed way. Typical capabilities related to the data product platform are related to the enabling the documentation of the data through the data catalog. We should have agreed governance model. How do we operate? How do we develop? Also data quality controls, integration principles, different kind of environments, both for the development and the production would be needed as well. The data platform also should have some sort of tools or capabilities to limit the access controls and make sure that the security is done in a proper way. If you think about the digitalization of Wärtsilä's ecosystem and the business, here are the great examples of our digital products. We have done the product called Expert Insights, which is strongly connected to the engines which are delivering the data. Then there's someone or actually AI who is looking at the numbers, streams coming from the engines. If there are some sort of exceptions, we can react. We can do things in a proactive manner. The other great area of the data innovations at Wärtsilä is called GEMS. GEMS is strongly connected to the optimization of the power grid so that it enables to handle the availability of electricity, even the sustainable energy sources like the sun and the wind are not giving enough power at certain times. We can optimize the energy availability, for example, in state level through that tool. And also our storage systems are strongly connected and integrated to that as well. On the other hand, we are also developing solutions for the fleet optimization. The idea is that we are helping big companies to optimize the movements of their fleets or ships in practice, and this is also strongly data and AI-driven exercise. But what is common to all this is the key point. All these three innovations, which are connected to the data and the AI, are strongly connected to the availability of the data. You're not able to do these kind of innovations if you don't have data available, if you haven't published your data into data platform, if you haven't productized your data, documented it in the meaningful way. It's also interesting in these innovations that if you want to understand the nature and characteristic of these, the data quality has also an important role, because data quality helps us to trust the data and make right predictions in these systems. Typically, the organizations are starting their data journey in the cloud so that they will find the tools, they are developing competencies. But typically, quite soon, they are hitting some barriers. These barriers are related to the topic that their organizations are struggling with the data quality. They have overlapping data. All the data is not available. It may be challenging to understand the data. No one knows that what certain number or field means. And there are also a lot of restrictions and concerns related to data security and compliance. And in all of the organizations where I have worked, the journey has went so that we have started, we have learned, but then we have actually entered in a situation where we have to, in a way, make things a little bit more systematic. In real life, if you want to develop data products in cloud, in scale, you need to define data governance and principles and also implement those into your organization. Data governance is agreed framework where we agree the roles and the responsibilities, the content, on the tools and the practicalities related to data development. If you think about these kind of data platforms, which are aiming for the data sharing between the stakeholders, if you don't have the common rules and principles coming through the data governance or the data product governance, you won't get far. The interesting topic in the data governance is that it's strongly connected to the roles and responsibilities, the data ownership. In real life, these governance models are just setting up the model, agreed principles for the collaboration. It will also define standards for the documentation, KPIs, and in a way, principles for the data product development. Data management is the actual implementation. It means that we are implementing those principles in our daily work. We are implementing those principles, for example, to the data product development, so that the development happens in the accurate way. The business benefit and the availability of the high quality data may be the end result of this journey. It will be the end result if we are doing things in the systematic way. But in all of my previous companies, the journey has been like this. We are starting, we are learning, and the first learning is that if we are not able to put the data quality in place, we don't get so far. The interesting thing in the data ownership is the idea that it's also strongly connected to the business. Many organizations may think that the data development is some sort of IT thing. So the best owner for the data may be IT manager or whoever system owner organization has. But in real life, the data ownership should be always clearly in the business organization. Why? Because if the key concern is the data quality, the truth is that the data quality is typically created in the business processes, in the business applications. Business organizations have skills to fix the data in the place where it's created or updated or used. So in real life, if you think about the data product concept, it's also extremely important to figure out the ownership. And the ownership is typically strongly connected to the areas where the data is developed, where data is processed. So in practice, in the business side. Data products are also connected. It need to be also connected to the bigger picture in real life. Governance should also enable us to make the connection with the development processes. We should have some sort of agreed way to develop data products. We should also have some sort of technology selections, technology architecture, which enables the development. Topics like the documentation, availability, and the quality controls are also needed. In practice, if you want to get a view into the data product governance, we should also have some data product specific rules to make sure that everything goes fine. Some learnings. One of the first learnings is that if you consider the data as an asset for the innovation. The data availability is the foundation for everything. Availability requires a vision, platform, and long-term commitment to innovate, publish data, make data available in the productized manner. The challenge of the data availability development is that it's never-ending story. It's never ready. You're always publishing a new data as a data platform. We are developing something new on top of that data and publishing the results as a data products, and so on and so on. But making the data available is the thing which is facilitating the innovation. We never know that what the innovation will be, but if data is available, it gives a possibility to start and innovate. The other learning is the data quality. It's easy to publish data to the cloud, but it's much more complicated to set up the data governance for the work, for the data. Since in real life it requires definition of the roles, responsibilities, and it also requires active work. In other words, it has a cost, which is quite painful for several organizations. So data quality and the understanding of its cost, roles and responsibilities is also one of the important things. It will increase the value of data if we can trust that. The third topic is the data interoperability. If we are publishing the data to the data product platform and we want to innovate somehow with that, we also need to have the common rules. We should be able to have principles, also technical ones, which are enabling the interoperability between the data products, so that it's easy to develop, easy to use the data if they have been developed, data products have been defined in the same way. Interoperability requires rules. It requires discipline. Discipline is a hard thing because in the data platform development, many teams need to work according to the same rules. So the implementation requires also strong ownership and a little bit push from the organization. Typically, when we are thinking about the data product platform, it also requires some sort of rethinking of technical architecture and the capabilities. This means in practice that in several organizations, they don't have all needed capabilities, for example, to establish the data product platform, or they may have some gaps in their technical setup, which they need to somehow fix. But in the most of the organizations which I have seen, also the technology part has been the area where we have had to do the work and also have had to agree principles and the tools as well. The fifth interesting topic is also the connection between the data and the AI. Unfortunately, AI models are strongly connected to data, and the accuracy of them is strongly connected to the data quality. If you don't do that work, you don't get far. So AI models are strongly connected to the data governance, availability, but also the quality. Happily, I don't have to talk today about the regulative viewpoints related to the data availability, publishing the data, AI, but it's also one of the concerns related to all this. Several companies, several business areas are struggling with the compliance required by this new world. But even there are a lot of learnings, the key point is that the data is the fuel for the innovation. And if you want to convert the data into the to the competitive asset, it requires work, discipline, and systematic approach.